Welcome to the Livin Life and Style Business Roundtable. I'm Eric Tiemann. I am the owner and sole proprietor of Livin Life and Style. We are a travel agency and also starting to be like a podcasting deal too. So that's cool. So anyways, I'm Eric Tiemann. My company's Livin Life and Style, livinlifeandstyle.com. And this is our Business Roundtable. Today, I have a few other invites out there too, but today the stars of my show are Zach Poland from it's Conflow, right?
Conflow Strategic. Yep.
There you go. Conflow Strategic. So why don't you tell us about Conflow Strategic real quick?
Conflow Strategic, small business coaching, advising, consulting, primarily trades businesses, construction businesses. That's my background. I give you a proven. I primarily work with businesses that want to grow, that are doing typically over $500,000 a year, and we develop a strategic plan on and a good developed process on how to grow profitably, find profits inside of your business that are already sitting there right now to get some quick wins. Because usually small business or not small business, but trades contractors, you're really good at the trades, maybe not so good at the business part of it. That's where I come in and help you file through some of those things and figure out some of it. Because I've had a good one successful 7-figure exit, and I'm getting ready to exit another one of my businesses now. So,
excellent. Yep. Yeah, something people don't talk about very often is the exit strategy when they're starting their business. It's actually a very important aspect of the equation. We'll talk more about that in a minute. I want to bring on our other guest today is Sandy Reed. Sandy Reed is my realtor. And she has done a great job with me for, God, was it like 20 years now?
Something like that.
Near 20 years. Holy crap. So Sandy, tell us about yourself and tell us about your real estate agency.
I work out of the brokerage is Chartwell Realty. We're the largest 100% locally owned real estate agency in Kansas City. We're the ones you've never heard of before because we don't concentrate on building the brand. My broker concentrates on individual agents' business. So it's a different take than your big real estate companies that and we have such a diverse group of people. Some do property management, some do commercial, whatever. So you can't compare apples to apples. And so his theory is if you are winning in your business model, you're winning, and you don't need to compare it with anybody else. But this is my 21st year. I do have a small team of realtors. There are 6 of us now. I work with my husband, who if you're ever working with me, you'll probably he might meet you at a door to open a door or something like that, but he does most of the back office stuff. But yeah, we've had a very successful career. And yeah.
Well, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've done a great job. I'm sitting here in my basement of the house. Sandy helped me buy with my movie theater and my pool table and my bar. It makes for a great place to work. It's like my office. I should just call it Cheers.
There you go.
I start calling it the Cheers Studio. And, glorious Greenwood. So Sandy, this is your first time on the round table. And generally what we do is we just kind of find out about what is, oh no, Zach's moving. Sandy froze. Oh, now she's back. She froze for a minute. Okay, she's back.
Yeah, I was saying you were buffering, so.
Oh, well, there you go. What do you want me to do?
I might.
It's that AT&T internet. I'm sure it's fabulous. It's definitely, not Google Fiber, but whatever. So anyways, what we usually do is we just kind of go around and we talk about whatever might be at the top of interest in your industry. So usually, last couple of times I've had Mike go first. I'm going to let Zach go first because we just kind of touched on something that I thought was very interesting, and that's the idea of an exit strategy for your business. So Sandy, you don't plan on being a real estate agent forever, do you?
No, sir.
You're going to need to exit at some point in time, don't you imagine?
Yes, indeed.
I want to exit sometime too. And dude, and I'm a travel agent. I just found out like yesterday, and I haven't decided whether or not we're going to do it, but I can get a 5-day cruise on Virgin Voyages to Mexico from Miami for $1,000 on a balcony.
Dang.
For $1,000, me and the wife. I'm like, hell, the plane tickets are going to cost us almost $800.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, we might have to do that. I have to go in April, but I mean, yeah, that would be really,
Okay.
yeah, exactly right. Do I care? No, we'll figure something out. We haven't decided yet, but we got the big thing coming up in August. So Zach, what, I mean, obviously, as I've said a number of times already, an exit strategy is hugely important with your business plan. How do you approach that with your clients? And by all means, Sandy, if when Zach's saying, talking about this, if you have questions of your own,
Okay.
free to ask Zach as well.
Yeah. So it's my opinion is that you should be building your business to sell. You may not want to, but you should build it to sell. In other words, you should build it so you could sell it next week. However, you don't want to because it's treating you so well. Why would you? Unless, like when I sold my first one, that I had a plan. Like it was a 5-year deal. Build it, sell it. I'm gone, cutting loose, going doing. But it was part of my whole strategy. Because eventually, and it doesn't matter if it goes to your family or whoever, you sell it, you close it, whatever. Eventually, you are not going to have that business someday. So
we don't work forever.
Yeah. It just doesn't have and even if you do work until you're done, then that's the point you're done. So that's still a plan. That's still the strategy.
It's an exit.
As long as it's an exit. Yep. As long as, I guess you have that and whoever else knows what it is. And the reason being is because, and I talk to a lot of people, that are retirement age now, and they're just like, well, when we're done, we'll just close the doors. I'm like, well, what does that do? You've got employees, you've got customers that are not going to have to go find new people that they trust you and your team or whoever it is. Don't send them out. It doesn't matter how you prepare for that. There's ways to do it. And I know because that seems like that's the easy thing to do, is to just close it and move on. But man, that it makes my stomach hurt when I hear people doing that, because they just didn't know. They just didn't know what they needed to know to make it clean. That clean exit strategy.
I mean, I recently sold a business. I can tell. I mean, yeah, it is a daunting and intimidating process. I mean, as Sandy can attest, I've sold houses, right? My personal residence, and that was just like stressful beyond, what you would tend to think it needed to be. And not because it's just moving your house is a stressful situation, right? And I was shocked at how much more difficult selling a business was than a house. Because it really was. I mean, it ended up going really smooth and really easy, but we had tried 2 or 3 times to look at the idea of selling the business, and man, it just was. I mean, from valuations to, finding, people who would be interested in buying it. I mean, the whole process just seems so amorphous. Do you like that word? That was a good one.
Yeah.
But it seems it's just so abstract, as opposed to like your house. You're at least selling your house. There's this physical, this physical building. You know what needs to be tightened up, what needs to be polished up to look good to present your house to sell. That's not as obvious with your business.
Well, you're right. I mean, the system gets refined over time, especially, you heard of people that buy and sell these hundreds or whatever businesses. And I don't know how big these businesses are or aren't. Doesn't really matter. But There is a system, just like a house selling system, that works. It's just that it's not as abundant as selling a house. I mean, houses are sold, businesses are sold every day too, but not near in the numbers. So there's ways to get it set up to make it look right. The first thing is whether it's bankable. It's got to be something that, whether someone's going to come in and buy something with their own money, most likely not. Usually they're getting financing, but it still needs to be bankable for them to repay themselves back. Even if it's something that they've saved for, whatever, 401ks and all that kind of stuff, there still has to be a system to get the paid back, the risk reductions. You got to find all these things inside of I can look at a P&L of a business that's listed out there right now and almost tell instantly the year, even down to probably pretty close to the quarter in which they decided to sell, because everything financially kind of shifts from, a business owner wants to chug along, not show a lot of profits because you want to pay the least amount of taxes. Then you switch it over. Now, when we decide to sell, we need to show a lot of profits. So we can sell this thing for more, whatever multiple in the business we're in. Usually if you're a owner operator, it's a 1.5 to all the way up to, SaaS, which, software products. I mean, they can go 20, 30x, but those are very, they're different. Trades markets, nearly kind of where our area, about a 3x multiple of your profits.
Right.
But you have to be able to prove that those are your profits, because if you, because you always get the sellers that'll be like, well, there's more over here, but we don't have that on there, and you're like, well, wait a minute, so
The ad backs.
Yeah. All the ad backs are a little tricky. Depreciation, I can't pay a bill with a depreciation. That doesn't
Right.
I can't pay a bill with that.
Yeah.
Great accounting tool, love it, but it's not cash flow. The other little thing is they're like, oh, all this little side money. You're like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that you're not going to tell the IRS this, but you'll tell me this, but we can't have this down. I get it. I totally get that. But that's the tool as a buyer that you get to use as well. If you can't prove it,
then it ain't real.
Then it isn't real, because
Yeah.
they will tell you, buyers will tell you all kinds of stuff. Or sellers.
Oh, yeah.
Tell you all there's money hidden in all these little corners and pockets and everything. Well, you need to know how to show it and show me that you pay taxes on it, because that's when you're able to do that, it's real clean and it's real just real clean. It's so much easier to sell a business. Like, I keep everything completely out of, like, no vehicles. I don't even pay health, and I'm probably not. I probably should. I could do some more have some more tax advantage if I do, but I keep my health insurance out of the businesses. I keep, vehicles, all that other stuff that typical business owners would put into their business. I just want that clean. That way, like I said, if I needed to
When
sell
it's time to sell,
here's my P&L. Everything's clean. I don't need to do a bunch of shimmy and shaking and explaining. It's right here. Here it is.
So if you're doing it that way, are you able to, like, reduce your selling costs because you don't have all of there's verification steps and stuff and things like that to verify your books and things like that. Does that, which adds to the cost of selling the business, does that get reduced in any way by keeping your books cleaner in that way up front? Or does it really matter?
I would say for sure, especially, so, that's just another thing that I do. I keep, and people that I work with, you have to be in contact with your accountant minimum quarterly. And, a lot of businesses, tax time is scary. Like, they don't know.
I hate tax time.
It's scary because you don't know what's going to happen, how much it's going to be, and all this stuff. But I run with the accountant tight every month. Like, I have a P&L every single month. I know exactly where everything is at all. Like, and I'm not doing the work. They're doing the work, but
Sure.
at least I'm seeing it every month. So it's very easy to know, okay, look, I know exactly. So when tax time comes, whatever the bill is for the service, I already know what the taxes are. It's just not a scary time at all. So in that aspect, I guess, it's a little bit,
It makes it
easy.
smoother.
What it shortens up is the due diligence time
Okay.
on the buyer side.
Right.
Everything's clean, and the cleaner you are, the more you can probably ask too, because you don't have it's not difficult to filter through all that stuff that most buyers when they come
It's
to
not a
market,
rat's nest.
it's a mess. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a mess that you have to figure out. And the first person that goes into that due diligence period, they have to kind of uncover a bunch of that stuff. And you may or may not get that information. And then they figure out, okay, well, there's too much weirdness here. We're out. And then you're left going, okay, well, I'll fix those problems. And the next one comes up. And
Sandy, I bet that's a lot like a house. Like it's
it
probably
is
easier to
all
sell a house
process.
that's nicely, cleanly staged,
Yeah.
as opposed to a house that's like, you got to move a dumpster in the first day and everybody has snow shovels to clean up the
So, and if you have your maintenance records, if you have every maintenance record on all of your house stuff,
Yeah.
your HVAC, your plumbing, your hot water, all, we've jetted the lines or whatever. If you have like a book you can hand to somebody, like it's like, I always refer to the movie, The 8 Mile. I don't know.
Yep.
Have I referred that on here?
I don't think so.
If have you seen it by chance?
I haven't seen it. I mean, I know the basic story, but yeah.
Well, it's basically you call out all the problem. I call out all of my problems and I give them to you.
Yeah.
And you've got nothing to come at me with.
Right. Yeah. No, we have talked about that. I don't know if it was on the show or if it was when we had our meeting, but yeah. I do remember you telling me that.
Yeah. It's here's all the problems. If there's something not in here, then I don't know about it. I'm not hiding anything from you. So good luck.
Absolutely.
Pick me apart. So,
all right.
The same way with the house. I mean, if you came with all that, okay, we've got the roof done, we've got the paint and all this stuff. What else have they got left to?
You always got those sellers who want to put up, drywall in their basement to hide the cracks in their basement walls.
Yeah.
It's like we hate those guys.
Business is no different. There's always skeletons in the closet somewhere. It's just how good are you at digging and finding them?
Yeah, interesting.
That's kind of the buyer's saying. That's like, well, your due diligence is as good as as long as you're comfortable when you dig in and you find those issues. If you're comfortable with them, then you're good, because you will find more once you get into the business.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, no matter how well it's put together, there's stuff there you want to
go. Oh yeah, believe me. Sandy's dogs.
You might want to mute me for a minute.
I got you. I was just about to go to Sandy, but then the dogs, like, she's gonna have to like wave her hands or something when I can unmute her. But I was about to go to Sandy because Sandy's got her real estate business, and I'm interested to find out kind of what's new in the market here, and especially in the local area. But Sandy also has a show that she does where she talks about all kinds of different stuff in the city. So I'm interested to find out about her show as well. Are you ready, Sandy? Is that a thumbs up? All right, here we go. So did you hear all that?
I did. And sorry about that. We are dog sitting Reno's dogs this week. And
Reno.
Jeff's out shoveling. And so that's what they're seeing and hearing and barking at.
Hey, dogs are dogs. We like dogs.
Hey, Zach, I had a question for you.
Yes.
Do you work with business brokers much
on
selling?
It's kind of a joint venture type thing, because a lot of times business brokers, they have a lot. I mean, they get a lot of business that come to them, and they're not ready to sell. They're just and a business broker is more into selling the business rather than preparing the business for sale. So yes, anytime I get a chance to, I love to. Yeah.
Well,
because it's easy. Because once I get them on a platform,
to a different room so that this can't get.
Oh, that's a good idea. So, anyways, you were saying you get them on a different platform. I said you were saying something about getting them on a different platform.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, it's fairly, it's good both ways, because if you're getting them not prepared and they're serious, and they're actually serious, not just, I don't want to do some work, but I want to get rid of this business, You can do a little bit of work and get them to a point to where, yeah, they're organized and they can go back to an actual market, and then you just hand them back to whichever business broker it was, and they've got a business. The problem with a lot of business brokers is not. I don't want to. Well, some business brokers, they'll take almost any and everything that they can, and then they'll put it out to market, and then that's why literally less than 20% of all businesses that hit the market ever sell, because they're like, oh, you want to sell your business? Okay, give me your numbers, and then they put it together, and then they put it out there, and it's just not it's not a sellable business.
Much like a house.
Yeah.
You don't do the
I know
prep.
a couple of business brokers, so I was just kind of curious as to, I know that they handle a lot of the real property, and then they've got the tangible and intangible assets, and I didn't know how well the intangible aspect was. Selling a building is one thing, selling the business is something else completely different.
Oh yeah.
No, I like to work with them because typically it's because I don't sell businesses, so I don't want to say I really fix them either. I just help them be what they're supposed to be.
You stage them,
and then you
stage them.
Yeah, and then give them back to them to sell them or whatever. And you can fast track it depending on where they're at, but typically it's a 2 to 3 year run on it if they're depending on the level where they're at. I mean, you can do it in 6 months, but
we were lucky when we sold our business because we were a franchise, so we were able to just fall back on the franchisor and say, hey, know anybody who's wanting to buy an office? And they're like, well, because they get calls every day for people who want to start a Visiting Angels franchise. And so for us, having a franchisor like that, I mean, that's where we got our buyer from, and that made it a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Sandy, I want to ask what's going on with your show.
Well, I've kind of morphed it a little bit differently. I was working with a company, a national company. So before all that, I've been doing this for a long time, and different things like that. And then I went to work with this other company for a more polished look, I suppose I would say. And I stayed with it. Basically, I learned what I needed to learn to polish my business, my program up better. And now I am doing it back on my own, so I do not have to pay them lots and lots of dollars. So
I know something about this.
Yeah.
I've spent the last few months doing similar things.
So I did learn, ironically, because I wanted to see what kind of equipment they used and this and that and the other. Everything we filmed with an iPhone.
Dude,
he was a professional photographer, and he says they've gotten and then he was able to, manipulate it all on his phone and stuff like that. And then it went back for editing and things like that. And so we'd take what was an hour shoot and had to condense it down to like a 5-minute episode, which it was the one that, so I did one at the Union K. That was the one I was probably least likely to be excited about, because there was so much information that didn't get put on there, and there's so much of the building itself that could have been shown, but in a 5-minute episode. Yeah, and the Negro League Baseball Museum is another one that we interviewed Bob Kendrick. And
that is a great place.
If anybody is familiar with Bob Kendrick, he's the master storyteller I've ever met. Wow. And so every answer, condensing that down.
He had big shoes to fill.
What's that?
Bob had big shoes to fill on being a storyteller, because as good as Bob is, he's now all of a sudden he's no Buck.
Yeah. Yeah, and he
Buck,
talked about that. Talked
Buck
about
was amazing.
learning from Buck, and and training him well and everything like that. And so it so I have, so from now there I've kind of gone on to doing these episodes, and I need to get, like, through the winter, quite honestly I didn't really do a lot, but I need to get back on that, just interviewing businesses or really cool places that or one in conjunction with the other, because the business is a cool place. So I've got some things lined out now that once we get out of the frozen tundra, I'm going to start re-looking at and things like that.
No, very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool. So where do you where are your were you posting your videos? Are you putting them on YouTube, or were you
YouTube and the social media places and things like that are where we're at.
Very good. Very good. So beyond the show, what give me some good news about the local real estate market, since I'm a homeowner. Zach's a homeowner. Is there any good news to be had? We've had a buddy of ours, his name's Mike. He's come on and given us the mortgage updates over the last couple of weeks.
Metzger?
So no. Metzger does insurance.
Oh, that's right.
He couldn't get on last week. He tried and it didn't work out, but we're going to work on getting him on here too. But so we've heard about the mortgage rates. The Mike guy, his name's Mike Foote. He does.
Oh, I know Mike.
You know Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike comes on here occasionally. So, there you go.
Very cool.
And he's been giving us the updates on the mortgage rates. What's going on with the housing market on the other end of real estate?
I have to say, I am as busy as I have been in a long time. It's not quite pandemic level, but it's pretty darn close.
Really?
I have probably, I'd have to look it up. I think I have 15 people looking for houses right now.
Wow, in February?
And it's a lot of it's there. So I found this little niche that I've been working a lot of, and it's the over 55 people wanting to downsize and things like that. And there's so many specifics. So everybody's got their own little quirks and their own little things that they need. If I could do a PSA on anything, it would be builders, widen your effing doors, because the population is aging at a rate unlike,
I owned a senior services company, Sandy. I know. I know
exactly.
the numbers.
And I don't remember how many million are turning 65 every day or whatever. And
it was 40. It was like 40,000 at one point in time a day.
Yeah. And it's something as simple for some people to plan this to be their forever home. They have to look at, if I'm on a walker or wheelchair, can I get into the bathroom? Can I take a bath? Things like that the builders, it doesn't cost but $10 more to put a 36-inch door instead of a 32-inch door into a bedroom or a bathroom. And so that is probably one of the big challenges with these people, is that, and the fact that, and the new construction cost. And so and so the range that they're in, maybe the 300,000, 350,000 price range, they didn't build them. You're going to buy an older house, or you're going to buy a house on slab, which is fine, because the house is on slab, you can get the wider doors and things like that. But that there's just a lot of retrofitting that hasn't been done to the older houses, most likely. So that's a challenge.
How much do you think they would pay for that? To, like, if do they find their perfect home or whatever, and that's like the number one issue?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they will pay.
There's probably only a certain amount of doors, right? It's not like all of them, or would it be?
Right. Well, and it kind of becomes like some of these bedrooms, like the primary bedroom, they'll kind of have a little turn in there. And I have one client in particular whose father has been in a wheelchair for He's had strokes and stuff, so he lives in his wheelchair. So it's one of those big wheelchairs, and it's not even just if you can do a straight run into the door to the bedroom or the bathroom, that's okay. But a lot of these, if they're down a little hallway, is the hallway wide enough? Is there a little? Just sometimes it's just this little turn to make a right turn or a left turn into a bedroom, and is there enough room to maneuver a wheelchair around? If everything is good except for the width of the doorway, they'll pay to widen the doorway. But then you have to look into is there heating vents there, or electrical. Electrical's easy. Yeah, electrical's easy to move, and easier to move. Over a few feet and stuff. Easier than moving a heat or a cold air return or something like that. And steps going in and out are a thing, but you can usually build a ramp, so that's not a big deal. But
a lot of these people are owning these homes as they're aging in these homes, people who live in that Midtown area, south of 85th Street in Kansas City, or you live in the old neighborhoods of Independence or Raytown, all those houses that were built in from 1948 to 1963 or whatever,
the World War II era. Yeah.
All the houses that they built for the people coming home from World War II are complete nightmares for senior citizens living in them, and most of them don't want to leave.
You're right.
They've been there since 1960s.
Exactly. And the hallways are thin. The doorways are short. Are tight. They're just not made up to current standards and current codes, and in most cases those people have not updated and modernized their homes to an extent that allows them to what they need to. We've been looking at this here recently because my parents and my in-laws are getting older, and we went down to my in-laws to look at their house because not just to look at their house but to help them out and stuff. And as we were down there and thinking about all of these things as they start coming at us with our parents aging, my in-laws have one of the best homes for senior citizens that I've ever seen. There's not a single step that goes into their house, in the garage, at the front door. It is completely zero entry all the way around.
Do they have a basement?
They do have a basement.
Interesting.
And they don't use it as much anymore, but they do have a chairlift that takes them down to the basement. That's where my mother-in-law's sewing room is and stuff like that. But the thing that's interesting about it is, even if they couldn't go to the basement anymore, their basement is so big it would provide an entire living quarters for somebody.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So complete with kitchen, the whole 9 yards, right? 2 bedrooms. It's really nice, a really nice arrangement for them in the event that they would have to have somebody who needed to stay there with them more than just overnight or something. So I was really impressed.
It's hard to find the zero entry like that, complete zero entry, if you do have a basement, because there's usually, the way they build them up here, they're usually built up just a little bit. I don't see now on if they're on slab. That's
their house is basically built on a hill, and their front door is on the upside of the hill, and the back door is at the lower end of the hill, and everything's sloped down the backyard. So they have a huge back porch and back patio. It's a real cool setup they got down there, and they did a lot of forethought when they planned on buying this house, and you could tell that when they went through it all, they're like, okay, this is our last one. And this is going to fit all of our needs, and they did a real good job with that for sure. So
the other group I've got, and some of these fall in that same group, are people that want to sell and move, but they haven't found the house for them that they love enough to go through all the hassle. I've got a lot of buy sell type people, but it's just we just need more inventory.
The buy sell situation, I never want to have to do that again.
Well,
get me wrong.
there are some opportunities. Some of the lenders have got different scenarios so that you can get into a house before you sell. If and without doing a bridge loan or something like that,
Right.
there's 2 or 3 different lenders that are starting to get more creative in that genre, so that it's not quite as chaotic as what you went through.
Yeah, that was, I mean, and I'm glad how everything worked out. It turned out just fine, but man, that was so stressful. It's like, okay, we accepted an offer. We have no idea where we're moving to.
Yep.
Where are you taking your stuff? I don't know. The curb right now. Like, holy crap. And it just and it just happened so fast. We were really fortunate to come across this place. So that worked out really well. Well, okay. You guys have talked about what's going on in your industries. It's my turn to talk about what's going on in my industry.
Yay!
We had big news yesterday. So I don't know how much y'all follow what's been going on in the cruise industry. I don't know if you're cruisers or I know Sandy's a little bit of a cruiser. I don't know about you, Zach, but
Not yet.
so last year, Royal Caribbean introduced the largest cruise ship in the world. It's called Icon of the Seas. It's a whole new class of cruise ship. All right. This past year, 2024, sorry, this summer, 2025, they're introducing Star of the Seas, which is another ship in the same class. So it's basically the same size. I think it's just a skosh bigger than Icon of the Sea. So they can always say the next one's bigger type of thing. Next year, they're coming out with this is the announcement. Next year, they're coming out with another Icon ship, and they're reintroducing it with a old Royal Caribbean name for an old ship that they've retired. And this is something that apparently Royal Caribbean has never done before, and it's called the Legend of the Seas. And the Legend of the Seas will be having its first sailings out of Barcelona next summer. And then in November, it will move to the Caribbean, and it will be doing sailings out of Fort Lauderdale and Port Canaveral in the fall and winter of 2026. So if you're interested, tickets for that boat go on sale tomorrow.
Any big bargains?
The Star of the Sea or the other one that
The Legend of the Seas. The Star of the Seas, you can already buy sailings on Legend of the Seas. Star of the Seas. Legend goes on sale tomorrow. And what was your question? Are there any deals on a brand new ship?
Bargains?
Will they go up?
Oh yeah, they'll go.
So could you buy as an investment?
Well, as an investment, what you could possibly do, I don't know how that would work. You could, it would be
could
possible.
You buy a block of 20 or something, and then
well. So now you're kind of getting into my other part of my business model, because one of the things that I'm going to be rolling out as we move forward here over the next few weeks, I've been working on it for a few months, but time being what it is. So I want to focus on doing like group travel, right? Not group travel like we're all hanging out together doing the same things and we're all marching together, on a tour and the same, and not that sort of group travel. When you're talking to a travel agent, it just basically means I secured a block of rooms, or I secured a block of staterooms on a cruise ship or whatever, right? And I got a special rate on them and I can sell them to anybody. So yes, it would be possible to do that in an investment form. And that's what I'm working on as part of my group travel program, because I want to have charitable organizations secure group blocks and then sell the travel, and part of the proceeds would be to benefit the charitable organization.
That's a great idea.
And so, yeah. So, yes, you could theoretically buy a block of rooms as an investment, especially if, if you want to work with me and you're going to sell the rooms, I'll definitely be willing to help you secure them and then, sell them, and then we can come up with a split. I'm okay with that too. My original idea was just for charity, so
yeah, but I mean, you only have to come up with a down payment at first, right?
you don't even have to come up with a down payment on like Royal Caribbean and Celebrity. You only have to come up with $50 per stateroom.
Oh, and then what happens if you don't? I mean,
It's
I'm
a
sure
fully
there's a
refundable deposit.
by at a certain amount of time, or what?
Yeah, you usually have to have them sold by like 120 days before sailing. 90 days before sailing is final payment. I just had my 120-day warning. They took my last 5 staterooms and put them back into the inventory for the
Right.
cruise. And then but see, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about it, Zach. I secured 8 staterooms. I booked 7, but 4 of the 7 weren't even the rooms I booked, right? Because I only secured 8 interior cabins. Well, me and my wife, we got a balcony. My brother and his wife and kids, they got a balcony. My dad bought an outside cabin, right? And my brother and his buddy, they bought a balcony. Well, none of those were actually group rated, but they get rolled into my group and I get credit for them. So anyway, yeah. And so I put down my $400 deposit. The deposit's completely refundable. It comes right back to me if I'm going to actually, because I have to, for Christmas presents and shit, I promised to pay down my daughter's trip. So some of my deposit, instead of getting it refunded to me, I'm just going to apply it to their trip. But at the end of the day, it could have been refunded to me. I could have gotten $400 back, but I love my daughters. So I'm not getting $400 back. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, if somebody wanted to do
that,
I got pretty awesome kids, so I like to, let them know that I appreciate them being awesome. So, but yeah, if somebody were to want to do that as an investment, I would work with them to do that as an investment with them, especially if I didn't have to put up the capital to set up the group trip. I mean, I've got a website page and everything. Look, like I got a website page and everything that you would put the itinerary on. I'll show you what it looks like.
I mean, I'm sure there's levels that you could, even if you push this to not for profit. I mean, there's different. Are they blocks of 10 or what? Or what are they?
Let's see here. I'm showing you. This is the itinerary that I build, and it's on a web page, so you you can direct all your people to it. Gives you the whole itinerary and stuff. You can secure, I mean, technically you can charter an entire boat if you wanted, if you could actually fill it, but you can set up groups easily for as many as 50 staterooms, 2 per stateroom. That's 100 people. And so, $50 a room for for 50 staterooms, it'd be like, if it was 100, it'd be 5,000. So it'd be $2,500, fully refundable. And then we build out this little page here so that you can send everybody to it in their email or wherever they want to go, and they can look at all the cool stuff for the trip. You have the prices built in. Yeah.
I see how that's yeah. That would be
You're talking about
it'd be like a market dominating position. I mean, they could actually use that as something.
Oh yeah. Like, well, and here's the other part of it. So, like, generally speaking, the average stateroom on a Royal Caribbean cruise is about $3,000, right? $3,000. Out of that, the commissions on a $3,000 stateroom on any cruise room on Royal Caribbean is 16%. Now I have to split that with my host agency, which is kind of like, a broker. Yeah. So I have to split that with my host agency. 16% of 3,000 is 480. My split on customers that are my customers that I generate myself, that I don't get from my host agency, I get an 80% split with. So that's $384. If I split that with a not-for-profit or a business partner on a group trip, $384 split in half divided by 2. That's the number I'm looking for. That's $192. You do that times 50 staterooms. Now you're at $9,600 for the charity. But here's the thing: every 8 staterooms that you sell, you have the ability to get a free stateroom. Right? So 50 divided by 8, that's 6 free staterooms, right? If you have 6 free staterooms and you were to auction them all off or raffle them all off, right? Let's just say everybody got them for a deal and got them for $2,000 instead of the average of $3,000, right? You get 6 of them. That's $12,000 extra dollars to the charity, because I wouldn't take any of it. There's no commission that comes back to me. It's a free
Great
room
idea.
that they can do whatever they want with. Right. So now your $9,600 fundraiser just became a $22,000 fundraiser. And on top of that, Royal Caribbean will throw in an extra $50 if it's for a fundraiser. If it's for a charitable organization. So they'll throw in
per room, or just
per stateroom. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's an extra $2,500. I mean, basically, if you did a 50 room group, you're looking at probably making close to $25,000 if you auctioned off all the rooms, all the free rooms. I mean,
how much lead time?
How much what?
I was just gonna say, how much lead time does something like this typically happen? Like, is it 6 month, 8 month, year? Like,
you're looking to do it right? To do it, the bare minimum they recommend is 8 months. To do it right, you need 12 to 18 to do it right. So you have plenty of time to market, plenty of time to pump it, push it, hype it, all the stuff you need to do. Put it, do the social media marketing, all of that stuff.
And the free staterooms are because it is a nonprofit event?
No. The free staterooms are because it's an affinity group. So you've built this group, and anybody who builds a group can get the free staterooms. I mean, technically they go to the travel agent, but obviously if I'm doing a group for a client, all the free rooms would go to the client.
Okay.
I'm not keeping them.
So it's one free stateroom per how many purchases?
Per 8 staterooms sold. Technically, it's supposed to be double occupancy, so I have to kind of look through that, because if you have a single, I don't know if that's going to spoil the 8.
But they usually have to pay the single premium on it. Anyway, right?
Usually, but that still doesn't count as double occupancy.
Okay.
The cruise line, I don't know. They make the rules. I just have to follow them.
No, that's good to know. Good to know.
But yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't care if it's like Sandy, it's your real estate agency, or Zach, your business coaching company. If you guys wanted to, set one up and have the proceeds be something that was a donation from your company to a charitable organization. Like I said, I don't care if you just want to invest in it just to make money and profit and put it in your pocket. But if you wanted to do that as like a tax write-off for your business, you could easily set it up just like a freaking golf tournament.
Yeah.
And all the proceeds you collect, you just donate all those proceeds over to your charity of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a charitable donation that you can market your business around. Like, hey, we just gave $25,000 to Habitat for Humanity, or whatever, the American Diabetes Association, or whatever thing it is that you like, But yeah, that's like completely one of the big programs I'm working on, along with obviously these podcasts and live streams. That's like my huge project for the year, is to get that system completely built out. So there you have it, folks. That's what's big in my neck of the woods, my nape of the wake of the woods, whatever.
So I have a question on. Yep. Actually, I have 2 questions. The first question revolves around, I know whenever COVID was happening, supposedly they were selling these things wholesale for scrap and all that kind of stuff. I'm assuming that I don't even know if that was real. I don't even know if that was true. I just what I heard.
No, they actually had to completely shut down operations for like a year.
So they didn't just start disassembling them and all that stuff.
No.
Okay.
They dry
thought
docked.
that was just so stupid sounding. But.
Well, yeah, no, they dry docked a bunch of them.
Right.
And refurbished them while they couldn't sail them. So it was like, all right, move them into dry dock and let's get the work done on them that we can get done on them. And I'm pretty sure there were probably a few that were, sent to the cruise ship graveyard just because they were old. But no, I mean, they didn't, their operations weren't dismantled or anything like that. It was just like, I mean, and it was very devastating to the industry, but
right.
They've come out of it. Like now the numbers last year were record-breaking numbers, and they expect more of the same this year.
Well, how long does it take to build? Because I was just thinking about this when you said next year, or whatever, Star of the Sea, and then Legend. So Legends of the Sea, that's a remodel.
No, that's a brand new ship.
How long does it take to build one? I mean, those things are huge.
Well, let's just put it this way: it's still being built as we speak,
right,
in Finland. And
I think a couple of years it does.
Yeah, they're usually
yeah,
it's at least a couple of years that it takes to build them. But they've already announced like its entire schedule, its entire plan, everything have already been announced even before it's done being built.
Yeah.
So just because they need much like booking the groups, you got to be way out in front of it. That's the one thing I've learned most about the travel business is like, like for me, it was like, oh, well, we usually just plan our summer vacation 2 or 3 months before we go, and then we just go. But people who travel a lot, they're planning 8, 9, 10, 12. I mean, I booked a cruise for this coming November, and I booked it last November right after people got off a cruise in October. Because they're that, that's also when you get the best deals is if you're about a year out.
I know years ago, my mother-in-law, they travel with a group up in small town, Iowa. The bank is the one that does all these trips and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'm going somewhere. And it'll be like 2 years out or a year out. And I'm like, that just seemed ridiculous. Well, the more I started to travel, the more it seemed logical rather than ridiculous.
Yeah. There's your mind. It's already, the decision's already made. Oh.
Yeah. And it's nice to have the money out the door, right? Like you get it booked, you get it paid for.
Yep.
And then, when it's time to travel and actually go, it's like, you're not worried like, oh man, do I have enough cash on hand to pay for the ticket? Do I have enough, it's like, it's all paid for. Just go enjoy yourself.
Yep.
So that's really nice.
Absolutely.
Oh, and then another thing that I'm adding is, Flex Pay, which should be available to pretty much any of my clients for just about any itinerary that they want to book. And it's basically financing with as little as $0 down. And you can even continue to pay it off even after you've traveled.
Wow.
I haven't gotten it all figured out and set up yet, but that would be the other thing I'm working on this year is kind of locking in the ability to finance people's trips so they can take kick-ass trips and afford it into their monthly budget.
Well, I was just excited about them sailing out of Fort Lauderdale because I'm so tired of Miami. I can't even, because I've been there so many times to get on a ship that it's kind of nice to go someplace else.
Well, and so, Fort Lauderdale is definitely quick. I've got this one client who books 5 cruises a year or so with me. I will probably never fly into Miami ever again after.
Oh no, you fly into Fort Lauderdale.
It's cheaper for starters, like a bunch cheaper, and it's only 20 minutes from the Miami cruise port. Like they have actual hotels in Fort Lauderdale that you can pay for the shuttle to take you all the way to the Miami cruise port. And I'm like, okay, what have I been doing? Why have I been flying into Miami and staying on South Beach when I could just go to Fort Lauderdale and be completely content, so we will be making some changes.
That's usually how we fly in because until recently, Southwest didn't fly into Miami. They only flew into Lauderdale. And you know me, I put everything on my Southwest card, so I get all the points. So I travel for $5.90 all the time because I've got enough points.
I didn't even, well, I mean, I knew Fort Lauderdale was close to Miami. I didn't know it was that close to Miami. And I had no idea the price, the airline ticket prices were so different. I mean, it's like literally almost half price to go to Fort Lauderdale, drive 20 minutes as opposed to fly to Miami.
Yeah. And I think they've got a train that you can take from Lauderdale to Miami.
Probably something like that. Like that. Yeah. All right, guys, I have taken you past the top of the hour. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Oh, it's no big deal. I'm not on a hard time clock. I mean, but the more I do this, the more I try to make sure I keep it, pretty tight. But I was late getting in, so we're late getting out. I really appreciate you guys coming and joining me. Sandy, give us an outro on Sandy Reed and Sandy Reed Real Estate. That's not what you don't call it Sandy Reed Real Estate. What do you call it?
No, it used to be. Now it's just the Reed team.
Oh, the Reed team. That's right.
The
okay.
Reed team at Chartwell Realty. Yep. Yeah. If anybody's looking to buy or sell, planning ahead is the secret to making a smooth transaction. And I'd love to help you if I can. ReedTeamKC.com. Phone number is 816-213-0938.
Fantastic.
How's that?
That's perfect. Zach, you're up.
Yep. Zach Conflow, strategic small business coaching, advising. Let me help you build your business that serves you to your core, circled around finances, family, and freedom.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I've got a workshop coming up next Wednesday in the South. Well, it's in Raytown or Raymore. If anybody watching, listening, or whatever, it's 9 to 11 at the Raymore Country Club Bank. If anybody's in the area or listening that wants to attend, let me know. I've got I don't know, probably 4 spots left, I think, for that. So,
all right, fantastic. And I am Eric Tiemann, Livin Life and Style Travel. I'm happy to help you with all of your travel needs. I focus on cruises and the Caribbean and Mexico. You can reach me at 816-744-1405. If you're interested in the group and helping to set up groups that we can market together, like we were talking about just a little bit ago with Zach and Sandy, I would love to talk to you about the group, whether you're with a charitable organization or just an organization that would like to host a group travel event. Please get a hold of me, 816-744-1405. You can also find me on the internet at www.livinlifeandstyle.com. That's spelled LIVINLIFENSTYLE.com. Yes, it's long. That's okay. Other than that, guys, I really appreciate you joining me this afternoon or this morning, or no, this afternoon. And I hope you have a great week. I will be sending out invites for everybody to join me again next week. The group keeps growing, so hey, we can only have 10 at a time. So just know that as the group grows, if you don't get in before the 10, you'll have to wait till next week. That's just how it works. I didn't set the rules. I just abide by them. You guys have a great day. I really appreciate you joining me for the afternoon, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye, guys.